Okay. So we are here on the landing page. I'm on the admin side of our just demo ClosetPro account. For those of you who are not currently using our system, there'll be a little bit in the setup here about, getting started with a design, but this is primarily going to be focused on sort of design tips. I'll go to users. This is where we have access to all of our users in the system, and I'll just use my name. And I'll use this test customer here for this. Our list of active designs, our list of proposals down at the bottom. I'm just going to start a new design here, and we'll start going through some of these webinar questions. I'm just going to leave these as is. I'm going to stick with white, oval chrome. We'll stay on the floor, and we'll use our shared panel configuration. Not going to change anything here, except let's say this will be helpful for, I'll do a raised panel for our door and drawer styles. That'll be more helpful when we're going to change the inserts for those doors. So I changed that here. You can make those changes in the design as well. But I might as well start out with it since I know that's what I want to do. I'm going to leave these as is, pretty standard. I will not pre-fill this closet, so we'll start blank, and we'll just start designing from there. And I'm just going to do a simple 3-wall design here. I'll just round these off, and we're good to go. I'm going to use every wall for designing. All right, and here we are. So I'll just start on the back wall here. I think I'll probably go through how to do some of these things and then strip the units out and just build all in this design from here. All right, so we're in wall 2. Obviously, we have open space here. To start, I'm just going to put in some empty space. I think it'll be a little easier to see this a little more centrally located on the wall. This is also useful if people aren't familiar with using empty space. This is how you push units down the wall in ClosetPro. It acts as a unit, as you can see here. All right, so let's start with modifying our panel type. So I'm going to come over to our bases. Let's say I just want to add this drawer stack. And I want to put a top here. Tops are most useful for when you're building base and the top. Uppers are going to sit up above. That was a question that we got a few times. So go with tops here, select your top, and this will just sit right above your base unit. I want to do another one of these the same. So I'll just come over and I can copy this section instead of building it one by one, and I can paste unit here. So now we've got our 2 bases and our 2 tops. Right now, we don't have any panels on the side here. So if we want to just do single panels that will run, considering these are both the tops and the bases are the same depth, we can do just a single panel configuration. I'll go into edit unit. Here's where you have access to the panels. So I still want the middle area to be open. So I'll leave this open. I'll come over and I'll just do a single panel type here. And we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so that just drops a panel running top to bottom. I'll do the same here, except I'll leave the right open. I'll come over and I'll do a single panel here. So this pretty simple to see. Single panel, open. Now this is because these are the same depth, single panel makes sense. Now, if we go in and let's say we make our base an 18, pull that out. We'll do the same over here. Now, when we do that, when we go back into these panel types, you'll see that we have access to a hutch here. So now we can stack. I'll show you stacked first, and then I'll show you hutch. So I'll put stacked in. I'll stack this one as well. So this is useful when you have different depths. You can see that we'll pull just a 14 deep panel to stack here on top of the drawer base to cover our top units. And then we'll have our 18 deep panel just run for the drawer stack. So that's useful when you have different depths there. I think you probably have an idea of what the hutch is going to look like, but I'll go in and I just show you. The hutch is only available when you have different depths, since that's what it's built for. So that won't be available if you don't have different depths. I can just jump in here real quick and show you. You can kind of already see the hutch over there. And here we have just a nice little hutch. Okay. I think that should cover modifying panel types. Those are probably the most useful things for that section. Now let's go over adding material. So if you want to add free floating material or mirrors or shelves, we have the materials section down here with this little plus. I'll click this plus, and now really, so this is just going to pull your melamine material. Then it just, why these are separated is because you can obviously see the orientation is different. So this will be a shelf orientation, this will be a cleat, and this will be a vertical. And then separately, we have wire shelving, which is shown here, or slat wall if you're doing something in a garage. These will all function in a similar way. So I'll use a cleat as the example for doing the wall hung mirror. Now it's important to note, especially when you do like a shelf or a vertical here, it's going to get placed in at the bottom, whatever material you use. So if you put a shelf in, it's going to default down here, and it's probably going to be tough to see. Same with the vertical. So just know that that's where it originates. And then to edit it, you come over and you hit the pencil here. So how far down am I here? This is, I could probably go 120. All right. So the way this works is you basically size and position the piece of material. So this is 24 wide. I think that's okay. What's a wall hung mirror? I'll say 36. Left offset, I'll put it maybe 120 inches down, and then maybe 40 off the ground. And now to do the mirror, you need to modify these here. So you need to pick a style that allows for a different type of insert. If you do slab, you're not going to have that insert style. There are some issues sometimes where maybe you don't have it built out in your system. If that's the case, just reach out and we can help you. You know, where a shaker might not have the option here, we can help you figure that out. But I've got this sized, got it positioned, and I changed my styles. So let's just submit that, see what that looks like. So here we have just this mirror on the wall. So, and when you render this, you'll get, this will be a reflection. So it'll show behind you as well. So that is useful for not only doing wall hung mirrors. You can do a wall hung mirror like this. We've done designs where maybe this is a mirror. Again, it's just sizing and placing. Might take a little bit of back and forth, just getting the right positioning. But that's how you would do that. And then if you wanted to do like floating shelves, you would use this. If you maybe want to have a vertical for whatever reason, you can pull here. Wire shelving, you can put on the wall and size however you like. That's what this section is for. The pricing for these will just pull based on your square foot pricing or your part pricing in the back end. So it'll just operate however the rest of your pricing for your closet does. Same goes with the wire shelf and the slat wall. Those will be priced in the back end as well. Okay. All right, let's delete all of this and I'll start with something fresh. This I think is a pretty straightforward one, but it was a question that we got. So if we want to delete our mirror, just come over, hit the edit button again, and off it goes. Okay, so changing door styles to include glass or mirror. We kind of went through that a bit with the materials, but I'll show you just how we want to do that here. So I'll just put in a 7 shelf unit. Actually, this would be helpful for a little door idea trick. Okay, so I'm in our 7 shelf unit. You can see we have our fixed shelves, 3 of them on here, and I want to add doors. The way doors work is they will snap between 2 fixed shelves. So you see if I put it in here, these doors will snap between the top 2 fixed shelves. Now, if you want to, in this instance, run doors top to bottom, pull these out, you're going to want to hover them over that middle fixed shelf, and it will jump then to the outer fixed shelves. So that's a nice little useful trick for adding doors onto a design. Now, once the doors are on, we come in to edit unit, and we have access to that style down here. So we've already got our square raised panel. And then if we want to do a different insert, we just do that there. And you can see we've got our glass doors on now. So that's a simple way of adding doors to one of your units and then customizing the look of those doors if you wanted to do an insert. Okay. Now let's talk a bit about base units. So we've got a few things on this one. I'm going to, let's move over to wall 1. I'll talk a bit about some things to know about base units, and then I'll build a corner desk. We've gotten a lot of questions about a top units in the corner. We don't have a perfect way of doing that, but I'll show you, I think, a good way of visualizing that. So this will be, hopefully, doing the desks is a little bit of a workaround. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. So again, I'll throw a little bit of empty space in here just so we can build over to the wall. I don't know, maybe I'll make this a little something like that. Okay, so let's start with this. I want to add in a base unit. So I've got my base in here, and we know this is 29.7 high. Come in here, you want to change the height. The height is locked. This base unit is a certain height. You can go into customize base unit, and you have a little bit of room up here to extend the fixed shelf and throw in drawers if you like. That's one way of working, but it's a little less exact for modifying base units like that. So what I would recommend, if you wanted to, why is this 28? I guess that should be okay. Maybe I'll shrink this down a little bit. I'll go back. So for a desk and for customizing a certain drawer stack, what we want to do is use our open base. So now we bring in our open base. You can see that it's 47 tall. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to be the same height as this drawer stack. Now, because the base is open, I have access to all of these heights. So I can determine what height I want the base to be at the outset. Once you put drawers in, it's going to lock the height of the base unit. So I would put your open base in, size it how you like, and then if you want, you can go in customize base unit, and this will be your 29 height. You can come down, you could throw a toe kick on if you like. Just bring this to the bottom. Toe kick, you're going to want to put a fixed shelf on top of there, and then you can throw in whatever drawer units you want. So for custom drawer banks, you may want to go this route and then see if you know what height you want your drawer base to be. Start there, and then you can see what sort of combinations of these you can fit in. For now, I'm just going to pull these out because we're going to use this for, like I said, our desk unit. So I have a little bit of open space left here. I'll just come in and I can extend this and it'll take up that open space. All right, so you can see we have our drawers. We have our basically desktop here. I'll come over to this side and I'll do just the inverse over here. So I'll put my base in. I have to go in and now edit the height back down. So I'll go to 29. I'll make this, maybe make this 30. And then I'll add my other here. So when we go in and look at this, you can see we have, this might be tight, but you guys get the idea on how to design. You can obviously just make this a little longer, but that's the beginnings now of this desk. But you see we have, so these panels right here, this panel belongs to this wall. This panel belongs to this wall. So it's those end panels for those desk units or for those open bases. So what we can do to get rid of those is similar to what we did before. Actually not, the panel types are already open. So we're going to remove the vertical. So we can remove this left vertical on this wall. And then I can go back to wall one and I'll remove that right vertical and it'll get rid of that. So now we come back in, we've cleaned up this back area. All right, now let's put some tops on here. So what I'll do is I'll just start here. I'll add a top. I'll just stick with this shelving unit here. I'll just do the same. And now it's going to take, it'll just take the width of this base unit. So it's going to run it to the wall. And I'll come over and I'll just do the same thing on this side. And then just to complete the look, let's say, I'll throw on some countertop. So countertops can be added here, or you can pull the wrench out. This just pulls it out for you. Select your sections and go. It comes in just as, I believe, 3/4 inch melamine. So just for visual purposes, we'll do like a butcher block so you guys can see it. All right, that popped in. Come over to 1, we'll do the same. Click the countertops. 2, 3. Again, this is just going to come in as melamine, so you come over and edit here. You can make any adjustments that you want here. And we'll add that in. We had another question. I'll cover this before I jump into the 3D and show us sort of the finished product here about adding doors to top units here. So when you hover over with a base in the top, we don't have a customize button. So you just hit edit, come into your top unit, and we'll do, let's say maybe a top hinge door. Puts our door on, and then our doors now are accessible here. Let's do a clear glass. And then I'm just going to do the same thing over on the other side here. Customize our top unit, top hinge. Just do clear glass. Okay, let's see what we got. So now we have a nice little corner desk unit for a quite small person, but you get the idea. I would just extend these further. You may want to make the top here deeper, so you can just account for that as you're building out. You can see the shelving just runs into the corner here. At the moment, we can't put doors on these. And I don't know why you would want to, being in the corner. But you can see that we've got our doors on these outer units. This is just open shelving. Now, one thing to consider is these units are essentially crashing into one another. So you're getting this length of melamine and this full length of melamine. So that's just something to be aware of, both in pricing and then in terms of how you're going to install this. So that's maybe the one issue at the moment, but visually we can represent this, as you can see. And that same case with the melamine here and here, it's overlapping. So just be aware of that when you're building these. Okay. Let's open the doors just for a nice little shot there. What do we want to do now? Okay. Applying crown and modifying our minimum crown height. So why don't I just strip these out again? If you want to start a design over, you just come all the way to the bottom here, remove all. So that was for that wall. If we did it on the all walls page, which I probably should have done, it would take it out for the entire wall. Let me do something like this. Okay, remove all. And then I'll go back to all walls, and you can go the opposite direction as well. So I'll use this for, let's say, showing crown. So we'll do a pre-fill. This should fill the entire closet. No, we bugged out. Okay. Let me just pull these out and I'll just build some units on this wall. Then we'll do a hang. Those, we want shelves. Maybe throw a base in there. So I'm going to, as I just continue to put some of these units in, I'm going to add crown to this, and I'll show you how to modify your crown style, and then something helpful for ensuring that crown gets onto your units. So to access crown, we pull our right side slide out. Scroll down to about the middle, and we have crown molding here. You just click crown, and it's going to put crown on the top here. Obviously, it didn't put it on our base unit. As we scroll down to about 3/4 of the way down, we have our crown selection. So I'll select white. And then here you have your crown style. So this, I believe, is just maybe traditional. But if we want to do, say, traditional to ceiling, we can do that. And that will, the white might be a little tough to see here. But that put our crown up to the ceiling. So you do have to make the color selection every time when you want to change that. So if we go back down here, again, white, and maybe we want to do just a crown 2-piece, you bring it back down. So that's how you're going to add crown and modify your crown. Here, white, and then drop down your styles. And then the styles will be dictated based on whatever you have in the back end of your system. Now, another question that we get frequently is in some instances, crown won't be applied to certain units. And how to check for that is our pencil over here, which we're going to reference again in a little bit. But as we open up the pencil, you see we have our minimum unit height for crown here. So now this is dictated based on what your top shelf default height is. If you remember, when I was starting the design, we had like 87 in there. So this is the default top shelf height. The minimum unit height for crown is saying that any unit that is below 86.4 is not going to get crown. So you need to at least be 86 tall to get crown. So that's something that we get questions on if crown's not running all the way around the closet. Check here, because if you have varying height units, it's likely that the lower units are not going to get the crown. So just check for that. Excuse me. That's an area that often pops up. Let me go over to wall 1 and I'll show you. I'll just throw a bunch of units on the wall here. We had a question about, and this is probably good. We just need these two. So how to do multiple colors per closet design. This will be useful not only for, one wall being all one color versus another, but for multiple. So one thing before I go through this, when you're on an individual wall, the changes apply to that wall. When you are on the all walls page, where we go back to our all walls page. When we're on this page, it will be global changes. So if I just want to make color changes to this wall, I need to come in here. These colors are always going to be global. So this will change the entire closet. That's the one exception to this wall rule. So what you're going to want to do is you want to come down to advanced colors. Now, in this instance, let's say we want to make this whole wall a different color. Let's say autumn leaves. I'll go through and I'll change all of these to autumn leaves. You can do, obviously, as you can see here, you have many different things that you can change the color for. So you can, if you wanted to do like mix and match, edge banding and shelves versus verticals, what have you, you can do that. But for this, I'm just going to go through and we're just going to, for this example, change this whole wall to autumn leaves. So this is all changed now. And we come back in here, you see we have two different color walls. So it can be a little tedious to click through all those, but that's in the instance where you want to change everything on the wall. Where you want to do some part accents, you can just have to change a few of them. And remember, like I was saying, that if you want to change them just for one wall, do it in the wall. If you want to change it for the entire closet and do the similar sort of accenting throughout, go to the all walls page and change that from there. Okay, so let's go through some wall hung units. So let's say I want to add our shelving. Now this, most of this, I believe this closet was just started in the floor. I could change it to wall over here. I just click wall. That will put this up on the wall. You can also change it in here by unit. Okay, so now I have this unit on the wall. And if you click, you can see that this is about 12.5 off the ground. And when we come in here, we only have really the height adjuster. So now if you want to raise or lower this on the wall, we come back in to the pencil and we have our elevation field here. So if I only want this to be 6 inches off the ground, I'll change that elevation to 6 and it'll drop our unit down. It will still stay at our 86.5, basically, at the top, but the elevation will be lower. So come in here, and this will be on the 32 millimeter system. So it will default to something probably not rounded, but make that change in here and you'll be able to adjust how high you want things off the ground. Another example here, let me just pull this crown off. So let's look at, I think this is probably good. Let's see. Oh, I think we want, there are instances where, all right, if we do like a hang bar top unit. Delete this one out. So now when we have tops, we have a top elevation field, as well as our unit height. So the top elevation is going to be where this vertical ends for a hang bar unit. If we put a top in, you can see it's going to be where these units start on the wall. So if you want to bring those down, you can change the top elevation and drag those units further down. So in the case of like one of these hanging units, you know, maybe you want to bring this one down. And you see this extends the unit. So if you do want to play around with the hang bar in there, you can just modify and you can move this hang bar how you want. If you don't want too much, you know, extra vertical space, you can make these adjustments in here and it'll close up some of that vertical space there, the leftover vertical. That's how you would adjust for top units where they sit on the wall from the bottom. The height field is going to only affect the top. Okay, so we had then another question about placing accessories. So our accessories, we can click similar to countertops, the plus button here. You could also just pull this guy out. Come down. We have our accessories here. It's going to ask you which section you want to add an accessory to. So I'll pick section 1. Let's say I want to add a belt rack. Select the belt rack. Then you'll have options based on the accessories that you have in your system. Do a synergy. Which side do you want it on? And then the elevation. You might have seen me do the elevation for when I was checking some of these. If you click a shelf, it's probably got a show. Oh, it's probably blocked by this. There it is. If you click a shelf, it'll tell you its elevation. If you click 2 of them, it'll tell you the other elevation and then the difference. So this is at 58. So maybe I want to put it. Maybe I want to put this at 65 on the left here. And that drops in our belt rack. Now, excuse me. You may have some other 3D models in the system and different accessories. We have obviously just generic models built in, and then you can fill in the accessories behind them. That would be represented by this 3D image. But that is how you would add your accessory. If you want to come back in here, we can go over and actually say we want to modify this. Actually, we want it on the right side. You can access them over here. Okay. Let me see. I think perhaps there's one other thing that might be worth going through. Let me drop this back down to the floor. I'll delete this unit. And let me see if I can add some tops in here. Okay. So I'm using this as an example because this is probably one of the easier ways of fixing this problem. This may not be a problem in the field when you're actually installing, but obviously the misalignment of shelves here. So, given these are at least the central ones are adjustable. Like I said, this might not be a problem when you're actually installing, but in the 3D, I think sometimes, you want them aligned. And we're just going to use 2 of the things that I've just walked through to align these. So if I click this shelf, I see that the elevation is 59. I'm just going to grab this. And to align these, I'm going to just put this into our top elevation field. And the hope is that that's going to pull. Yeah. So that pulls our top shelf down to this elevation. And it's just going to then align those other 2 shelves because it's just 2 shelves here. It's the same split. This is helpful if like you are doing, let's say, like an entertainment stand or something like that, and you're building shelving, top shelving, base units, and you have your space for your TV in here to align the shelving, that the top shelves with your actual full units, just to clean everything up. And then one thing I guess that we could have used as I was going through in our obstructions here. So in the case of an entertainment stand, if you wanted to throw in a TV, we have a few of those. I like TV2 is just kind of a flat wall mounted. This is just the orientation in the obstruction view, but when you actually put it on the wall, it will be flat. So if we make it, I don't know, 30, and let's say 30. That'll put it in there and it'll just sit flat there. You size it however you like. The other thing that we could have done with the desk unit we were building, and again, this is all just kind of designer preference in terms of how much you want to dress up the design. You know, we do have a computer monitor, so you can put that in there. You can change the rotation. It takes a little bit of adjusting to, you know, get it on the right spot. But if you want to, you know, we could have thrown a computer monitor on that desk, and that would have maybe helped bring together that that desk area. Okay. I think that's everything that we had. Let me just go through my list to see if I missed anything. And while I'm doing that, let me I'll pull up the last slide with information for contacting us. Give me 1 second. Okay. So if you have any questions, follow up to this, please email me at jcb@closetprosoftware.com. If you'd like the free trial, if you haven't already given it a shot, you can go to draw.closetprosoftware.com. You just register and you get 2 free weeks with the system. And then, like I said, this will be up on our Instagram on our YouTube. So just at ClosetPro Software, or just search us on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. You can find helpful tips that we'll post on there maybe every week or two, something helpful on there. Let me see if Megan has anything. Give me 1 second. I think maybe my muting. Megan, you there?
Yep. I'm just answering the last couple questions. When adding a door from the extrusion menu, is there a way to change the swing? Currently, there isn't.
Okay.
Is there a way to show notching in the toe kick area? And how do you show a floor vent? So we don't have a floor vent at this time. The obstructions only show against the wall, so there's really no way to put it on the ceiling or the floor. To show notching in the toe kick area, I'm not really sure.
That might be.
Yeah, so maybe show them, are you still on your screen?
I can go back.
When you click the pencil next to the design name, there's a place to put a baseboard notch. So if you put 5 inches, it's just gonna notch all of your units 5 inches. So yeah, right there, baseboard notch and depth.
These are fields as well when you're starting your design.
Yeah, and you could always edit them after. And then if you have a floor-based unit, it's just gonna notch everything up
off the back.
Yeah.
And you, if you have an enterprise account, you can change. We also have shoe and quarter round notching, which I just don't have turned on right now. but those would be in here as well. Anything else from the chat, Megan, that
Well, Jeff was asking about wall beds, which we don't have them live right now, so there's like a workaround for it where if you just save an open unit and you can make them public, which this only applies to an enterprise account. So you would have to create them and then save them and then make them public. So it's, if you need to call in with help for that, we could do that. I don't think it needs to be covered in the chat because it's a little complicated.
we have this is an example of one.
Yeah.
So
it's
this is
not
one
gonna
that
have
we
all
built.
the accessories in there. So you might want to add an accessory just to cover for the pricing for everything that goes in the wall bed, but it'll just be shown as the open unit with a door.
Yeah, so it can definitely serve as a visual representation here. You know, just put the dimensions in and can put it on there. But like Megan said, it's not fully built into 3D, so this is the workaround at the moment.
There's a lot more questions that we got. I feel like keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we could always follow up afterwards as well.
Yeah.
With the chat should save to Zoom, so we can just follow up with people on the questions.
That shows the exact size of the door for ordering? Yeah, the cut list should cover that. Is there a way to use a base for a garage unit without creating one from a bank of shelves? Is there a way to use a base for a garage unit? You should be able to. I'm not sure if I understand that question.
I suppose while we have a question about the garage, I can just show the catalog. Just to cover off, the cut lists are here. This is your standard, and this is your by type. Standard will go around the room. By type will group similar parts together. So it'll group your adjustable shelves together, your fixed shelves together, and then different line items will be different dimensions for those parts. For enterprise customers, we have catalogs here. These catalogs will operate under different, they'll be wholly different. So when I go in to build a closet, you can see I have all these colors available. I have our rods, our panel configuration, our floor and wall, and everything I was just doing was in the closet catalog. So you can see all the units in there. But if I back out and I go to garage, I see when we click in, we have only these 6 colors available. We have no options for rods. We don't ask you for your panel configuration or your floor or wall. It's just going to be whatever the rules of this system are. So when I click through, I'll just leave this stuff as is. This as well. You can see those defaults were different. Instead of 86 or 87, we had 84 for the top shelf height. So now when you get into this garage catalog, and this doesn't have to be garage, this is just really demonstrating the fact that catalogs can be different. When I go to add a unit, you see this is completely different. Now we have 1 tall cabinet, we have 2 wall cabinets, and we have 3 base cabinets. So these were all custom built units just in the system. And then when you save those custom units, you see this will automatically come with doors on it. And I believe everything is double paneled. So that's why we didn't ask about the shared or double configuration. So comes with, looks like just slab doors. We can add, let's say, some walls. This comes in automatically with a door here. So you can have different catalogs that not only have different units in them, but also different design restrictions. So in this case, it is helpful, you know, closet versus garage. If maybe you have different lines, if one is, you know, a modular sort of SKU based line versus a fully custom line, you can have different catalogs for that as well. So useful little thing in the system, but pretty powerful. Anything else you want to touch on, Megan?
I think I got to all the questions, which there was a lot, so woo.
Okay. Well, thank you for going through. I'll just throw up one more time the screen here. So thank you everybody for joining. I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I will send an email out in probably within a week's time to people who registered. That will have the link to the YouTube video. I'll likely try and go through and chapterize this one so it's a little easier for navigating. If you have any questions, email me at jcb@closetprosoftware.com. My name is Joe. You could also email Megan, but I'm sure you guys all already have her contact information. And then, yes, visit our YouTube, visit our Instagram. We already have a lot of videos on YouTube. We've done other webinars in the past. Those are all on there. We have some demos on there. And then we have some short form videos that cover specific topics, building a mudroom, centering units on a wall, angling ceilings, things like that. All those topics are on there. If there's one that's not on there that you're looking for, shoot us an email, and I'm sure we could cobble one together. And then if you are on Instagram and you want to see ClosetPro renders and tips, feel free to give us a follow, and we won't bombard you with stuff, but you'll get to see some useful tips on there as well. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining. Be on the lookout for that YouTube email. And then we'll hopefully plan to do another one of these webinars in the next couple months, likely in the similar fashion of a kind of an FAQ type webinar, or if something else major happens, we'll do something around that. But thanks again, everybody. I hope everyone has a good day and a good holiday season.